Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Mr. Vivek Reddy, right?
Yes, sir.
So, based on your basic information you have given in the DAF,
Yes, sir.
there are certain things that may be focused in the interview, like your home state, Karnataka,
Yes, sir.
and your education background, MBBS,
Yes, sir.
and your hobbies, painting and sketching.
Yes, sir.
Uh, so, these are the major focus areas.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, whatever may be the things.
Sir, and I am presently in service, sir. I am in Indian Revenue Service, Customs and GST, indirect taxes, sir.
Oh, that's right. Indian Revenue Service Customs.
Yes, customs and indirect taxes. Presently, I am in GST.
Okay, GST.
Yes, sir.
That's right. So there are first two things that I wanted to tell you is for the what is the date of your interview?
So March 22nd.
March 22nd. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So for the rest of the 10 to 15 days, your thinking should be beyond the DAF. So
Okay,
it should not be merely the DAF, because anyway your preparation would be based on the DAF, but you are supposed to think beyond it. So how to think beyond the DAF? They ask you questions related to the DAF, and you may prepare, say, suppose 100 things about the GST.
yes,
But
sir.
there is a 101st aspect from the GST.
Can I ask? Yes, sir.
So that procedure of thinking should be based on three aspects, where in simple you can remember, I think you know about the chat GPT.
Yes, sir.
So that remember that GPT,
Okay,
and
sir.
from the GPT perspective, you have to think the things.
Okay.
G for globalization, then P for policy perspective, and T for technology orientation. Okay. So this globalization, policy orientation, and technology orientation with reference to all your aspects of the DF.
Okay.
So suppose if they have to ask you anything about your service, like
Yes, sir.
you are in the GST,
Yes, sir.
then they may ask you about the global perspective in the GST. That
Okay, sir.
before India, what are the other countries which have enacted the GST related legislation?
Okay.
And how the GST is operating in other countries, majorly
Okay.
primarily the Western societies.
Okay.
And second thing, policy orientation. What is the policy of the government of India regarding the GST? And
Okay,
every
sir.
month we can see that the GST collections are increasing.
Yes, sir.
And how it has happened? That is because of the next one, the technology.
Yes, sir.
So how GST department is using the technology in raising the collections, increasing the collections of the GST.
Yes, sir.
So if you prepare the answers, think from that point of view, every
Okay, sir.
question will be within that framework only. Let
Okay,
them
sir.
ask any question. Every question will fall within this framework of the GPT,
GPT. Okay.
right? And your presentation of the answer should be, that is, the GPT is the process of thinking about various topics. Then when they
Okay,
ask
sir.
you the question, as you know that you have already experienced in the when you got the service, sometimes your answer will go beyond a specific time limit, and sometimes your answer is
40%.
very short. So to make the answer uh, reasonably moderate, you have to consider three things. One is you should present the answer within the constitutional point of view. So usually we have two types of dimensions of thinking and presenting some opinions.
Okay.
There is a common sense ethicality and constitutional ethicality. So our answer always should be within the framework of the constitutional ethicality. So
Okay,
from
sir.
the constitutional point of view, ethical point of view, and public interest point of view, your answer has to be given.
Okay.
Say, suppose if they ask you anything about like women's role in the society, so
Okay,
you
sir.
have to give the answer within this framework only. If there is a discussion about what should be done regarding the criminals who are committing the crimes against the woman, your answer has to be within this framework of constitutional point of view, then public interest point of view, and constitutional morality point of view. Not that. So that is where we have to give the answer based on the bureaucratic line of thinking. So your bureaucratic line of thinking, and anyway, you are already bureaucrat, and your presentation of the answer should also be based on that. Your answer should never be against the public interest. So which includes public interest includes the national interest.
Okay, sir.
And the areas like national integration, all those will be a part of the public interest. Secondly, your answer has to be ethical. And that ethicality should also be constitutionally moral, not common sense morality.
Okay.
And it also has to be legal, that is based on the constitutional point of view. So given these aspects, the probable areas in which they may ask you questions, suppose about Karnataka.
Yes, sir.
So regarding Karnataka, one of the nationally attentive areas is free transportation in the recent times.
Yes, sir.
Free transportation to the women in the public transport. So, and its implication. It is not just about the policy. Policy implications may be asked. The policy implications, like what are the social implications of it, economic implications of it, and who are the beneficiaries and who are at the loss, who are at the receiving. So who are at the, because in a social system, when you do certain things, everything will have benefit and everything will have some disadvantages also. So who are the people who are at the receiving end? Say this program is being opposed protested by the auto drivers, protested by the cab drivers. So really the government has achieved its intended objectives on it with the free transportation. And that may be another area. Then hijab issue. The second issue is being the hijab issue. Recently also, a week back also, the hijab issue has erupted again. From the point of view of hijab, they may also talk about certain sartorial choices. So sartorial choices mean the choice of dress for the women. So suppose there is a paradoxy, and the paradoxy currently ongoing in the world is in Iran, the women were opposing the hijab.
Hijab, yes.
While in Udupi and in particular in general Karnataka, they want the hijab to be permitted to be wear.
Yes, sir.
So how this kind of contradiction you would be responding? Secondly, they may just ask you, like just to test your fundamental GK, in which state they have prohibited the hijab. So generally, if when you are in the hot seat, you generally say that in Karnataka it is prohibited, but actually in general it is not prohibited. According to the 1983 Karnataka Education Act, 1983 Karnataka Education Act, it is prohibited only in the educational institutions. Because the educational institutions have the freedom to decide the uniform.
Yes, sir.
And the students are not supposed to wear anything extra or anything less than the prescribed uniform.
Yeah.
So hijab is like an additional attachment to the existing uniform.
Yes.
So up to the school, when they come to the school, up to school, they can wear the hijab. But once they enter into the class, they have to remove the hijab.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, what happens is it will become a national integration issue. The people who are opposing it, they are coming to the classes with the saffron.
Saffron. Yes, sir.
So therefore, the Karnataka High Court judgment was completely based on the given legal principles. The legal principle based on the 1983 Karnataka education. And accordingly, Karnataka said, the High Court said that prohibition on hijab, there is nothing wrong in the schools as far as schools are concerned. Then again, they went to the Supreme Court. And in the Supreme Court, the two-judge bench has given a balanced judgment. And as a result, the issue went to the a constitutional bench.
Yes.
So then there may be a question about the Kaveri water dispute.
Yes.
Why the Kaveri river water dispute is so much controversial, is because water in India is not merely a physical wealth, a physical resource. It is more than a physical resource, and people in India worship the water.
Yes.
And there are a lot of emotions connected with the water. People are emotionally connected to it. They worship it. They pray the water, and they offer money. The train is going on a river water bridge. People throw money into that. So that kind of attitude, all these things are the emotions of the people connected with the water. So therefore, it is not just a physical resource. It is more than that. Hence, people in Karnataka or anywhere in the world, in the country, are emotionally attached to the rivers. And it is also giving them livelihood, because it is useful for the agricultural activity. So it is a matter of livelihood for them. So, and apart from that, and they have to consider, while resolving the issue of river water distribution, they have to consider the matters of national integration as well, not merely the interest of the Karnataka people or Tamil Nadu people. It should be based on the national interest only. So from that point of view, if you when you are answering whatever may be the question, and while answering the Kaveri river water dispute issue, use these key terms, keywords like national integration.
National integration.
Then another area would be about a bomb blast in Bangalore. So, and from the point of view of bomb blast in the Bangalore, and that particular name of the cave, and how this cave has originated, and what is the cave that is selling, and all those things, basic things. And from this issue, they may also ask you about the hybrid terrorism erupting in Karnataka. How hybrid terrorism is erupting in Karnataka. Once upon a time, terrorism used to be there in the states like Jammu and Kashmir and Maharashtra. But how it went to the deep south, particularly in the states like Karnataka and Kerala. And hybrid terrorism is erupting and emerging more in the states of Karnataka and creating a kind of disintegration issues. So that will be the possible area. Then one more most important controversy in Karnataka is the Temple Bill 2024. So which is generally known as the Temple Bill, but specifically its name is Hindu Religious Institutions Bill, whereby the government is imposing up to 5% tax, 5%
on the income
taken by the government. So whether this kind of Hindu religious institutions bill should be enacted, or should it be allowed to be implemented? When it is being sent to the governor has suspended temporarily, not given any approval to it. So that is another controversy. So these are some controversies.
Sir, what can be our stand on this, sir? Temple bill.
This temple bill, suppose we have to take other states. Instead of directly giving the answer, there are some other states like Telangana. So in Telangana, also the government is charging financial resources from these temples, from the Hindu temples. So based on this Telangana model only, that Karnataka legislation is also enacted. But on the other hand, there is other opposite dimension, whereby in the states like Uttarakhand, in 2021, this regulation is being withdrawn. So the temples are given freedom. The temples are given autonomy. So there is a contradiction in this situation, whereby some states are collecting revenue from the Hindu religious temples. Some states have given autonomy to the Hindu religious temples. So which is connected with the Article 26 of the Indian Constitution. So because in the Article 26, every individual has a freedom of establishing, managing, and operating religious institutions. And this is applicable, this kind of regulation is applicable only to the Hindu community. And for the Muslim religious institutions, there is an absolute freedom. Like there is a Waqf board. And in the religious activities and the wealth developed by these organizations cannot be taken over by the government under Article 26. But overriding this provision of the Article 26, for the Hindu organization, the governments in several states are enacting such legislations. So there is a need for gradually these Hindu religious organizations should be given autonomy on par with the other religious institutions. And the model can be influenced from the states like Uttarakhand. And they may also ask you about the issues with reference to, suppose if there is a question about the Hindu religious temples bill, some member can also raise the issue of Uniform Civil Code in Uttarakhand. So do you think that the Uniform Civil Code is necessary?
Okay.
Then you should also, whatever that stand you take, you should be in a position to justify with the necessary statistics.
Yes.
So suppose, as I told you, that regarding this Hindu temple bill, what should be your answer? Then I have given you some examples like Telangana and Uttarakhand. So that justification is necessary when you are answering it. So how you can justify the enactment of a Uniform Civil Code is based on the constitutional point of view. So when the directive principle under Article 44 is insisting the government to enact a Uniform Civil Code, there is nothing wrong in it.
Okay.
And secondly, there is also a judicial opinion for this, in favor of this. So over a period of time, since 1986, right from the Shah Banu case to Bilkis Banu case in 2000. So in a series of judgments, nearly 12 judgments are there, where the judiciary, the Supreme Court, has directed the government to enact a Uniform Civil Code. So it is favorable. There is nothing wrong if a Uniform Civil Code is constituted, because it is based on the principles of equality. And then they may ask you, what about the religious freedom? If you are in the name of religious equality, if you enact a Uniform Civil Code, what about the religious freedom? Is it not an intervention in the personal affairs of the other communities? Then you can react to that, respond to that when there is uniform criminal procedure, uniformity in the criminal code, why there should not be uniformity in the civil procedure? And in this Uniform Civil Code, there is only commonality with reference to the legal system, not about there is no intervention of the state. There is no intervention of the government with reference to religious practices within a various religious dimensions. Suppose in the Uniform Civil Code, there will be only, it prohibits the bigamy or polygamy.
Yes.
And but it is not interfering anything about how to perform the marriage ritual.
Yes, sir.
So in the rituals, it is not interfering. If you interfere in the rituals also, that will not be Uniform Civil Code. That would be a common civil code.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So there is a slight difference between uniformity and the commonality. Uniformity is only a general regulation of various social practices by the people. Common civil code, if you are using the common civil code, that common civil code will also enable the state to interfere even in these rituals also. But Uniform Civil Code will never interfere in the rituals.
Yes, sir.
And the inspiration can be taken from the Goan Civil Code, which is called the Napoleon Code.
Okay.
So those are the areas of focus in the from Karnataka point of view. Then since you are a doctor by education, probably they will be asking you about some public health related aspects. So what is the possibility of third wave? There are new and third wave of COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
And regarding by connecting the Arctic also, they may also ask you some questions like, since the ice in Arctic will be melted in the next 10 years, according to a recent report. And if the ice in the Arctic is melt, then it will generate and regenerate the certain old, the ancient, pre-ancient bacteria and viruses. So from that point of view, they may ask some questions, Arctic and the related virus-related diseases.
Okay, sir.
Then again, there may be possibility of medicines that you recommend, a list of medicines that will recommend as a treatment for the COVID-19, list of medicines.
Yes.
Because during the COVID-19, around 12 list of medicines used to be suggested by the doctors. So you need to remember the names of those medicines. Then what are the chemical components in the vaccines, COVID-19 vaccines?
Okay.
Right. And government policy on the public health. The 2017 national health policy.
Okay, sir.
And the 360-degree orientation of the public health adopted by the government in the recent times. Apart from the allopathy, right? Apart from the allopathy, the government is also insisting on alternative medicines,
Ayush, yes, sir.
like Ayush. And in 2023 December, Parliament has also enacted a legislation to regulate the dental health also. Dental health bill. So you're supposed to know some fundamental provisions about the dental health. And they have also enacted another legislation like Nursing and Midwifery Act.
Yes.
So the major significant feature of this legislation is focusing on the soft skills, not merely on the medical support that they are giving. It is also emphasizing the soft skills. Suppose usually when a patient visits a doctor will treat the patient with a high respect and he maintains the dignity of the patient. But this is not the same case with the, we cannot expect same kind of respect from the compounders and the nurses. So therefore, this new legislation is insisting on training the nurses and the compounders and midwives with the soft skills. Maintain a good human relations with the patients so that they feel comfortable. And even this is also a general practice among the nurses and the compounders to demand bribes from the patients or the relatives of the patients. Even on that aspect also, it was emphasizing. Then all the more important is the impact of the artificial intelligence in the medical field.
Okay, sir.
How robotics can be used for improved medical treatment. Then the 3D technology.
Okay.
And its impact in the medicine, in the field of medicine. All the contemporary technologies like big data, quantum computing. So how quantum computing can be used in the, is being used and utilized in the medical field. And similarly, algorithms, use of algorithms in the day-to-day medicines. Suppose Arogya Setu app is the biggest example of how algorithms can be adopted in the public health policies as well. And then your hobby, painting and sketching. Regarding this, again, they may ask you about the technology impact again. Impact of technology in this human skill. Because fundamentally, as a traditional belief of the people is that painting can be done only by the human beings. But because of the machine learning, even machines are also doing the same thing.
Yes, sir.
So what are the technologies and what kind of platforms are being used? Generative platforms are used.
Yes.
By itself can generate a paint, and it can also copy the things. And the relevant copyrights issues arising from artificial intelligence being used to generate the paintings. So those probable areas. Then regarding your profession, IRS, and you are in the GST. And the most, as I told you already, how the government can improve. Every month it is improving the resources from the GST. So continuous increase in the resources. How it is possible and how technology is being used for the improvisation of the GST collections, and what can be done to further reduce the dissatisfaction of the people regarding the GST, because this particular point is being referred by the finance minister also in the 2024 budget presentation. So in the budget presentation, the finance minister was saying that the dissatisfaction with the GST has been reduced down to the 5%.
Okay, sir.
So because in the beginning, before it is being introduced, there were a lot of apprehensions about the GST introduction among the traders and small business persons. And people were also worried about the GST regarding when the demonetization also took place.
Yes.
So, but this apprehensions and fears and the objection, they have all been reduced down to the 5% level. And similarly, objections of the states regarding the GST extension, GST
compensation
rate extension to the states, particularly the issues raised from the states like Kerala recently.
Yes, sir.
So central government has imposed a restriction on the net borrowing capacity of the state. And in that context, states like Kerala and
Karnataka.
Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal have demanded the government to extend the GST relaxation period. So on that lines also, there may be a possible question. And so this particularly you have to read that paragraph used by Finance Minister regarding
Yes.
how the GST satisfaction has come down.
Yes, I'll write.
They are the possible areas of understanding the things from your point of view. So, is there any other issues that you want me to?
Regarding this service matter, like when it come to like personal these things are like, why are you coming? Like you are a doctor. Because I encountered such type of questions like in other marks also, sir. Like why, like you are a doctor and now you are an IAS, IRS, and now you want to become an IAS. Why? What is the reason? That yes, sir.
What is your answer for that? What is the answer you prepared for that?
So my answer was on the lines of like I started my preparation for the civil services examination to become an IAS officer, as every other aspirants do. So I am trying, since there is an opportunity for me to try. So I am trying to be. But as far as the present service is concerned, I am satisfied and I am happy with the service. But still, since I have an opportunity, I am trying. This is on these lines I am replying.
So that's a perfect answer.
Okay, sir.
And make sure that your answer is not merely personal interest one. Not merely personal interest. As I told you in the beginning, you should be giving the answer in a bureaucratic line of thought. So that bureaucratic line of thought is constitutional, public interest oriented, and ethical perspective.
Okay.
Try to apply these three dimensions in your answer. So suppose what you said is based on your personal interest,
Yes,
not the public interest. Try to incorporate that dimension of public interest also. So because suppose we can say this, when I am a doctor, my services would be confined to only a few people who are sick.
yes, sir.
And if I am the IRS officer, my services are confined only to those people who are paying the taxes and who are not paying the taxes. If I am in the public policy domain, if you are an IAS officer, you will be in the public policy domain. You would be in a position to recommend the policies as well as implement the policies. As a member of the secretariat, you would be recommending the policies to the minister. If you are in the directorate, you would be implementing the policies.
Yes.
So you will be going into the general domain of the public policy. When you go into the general domain of the public policy, what will happen? Your possibilities of presenting your skills, presenting your ideas to the society will be more in broader. So that would expand your line of thinking and broaden your mind perspective of presenting the answer. So because
on both, should we present on both the lines or only on this line is better, sir?
If you follow this broader principles, like bureaucratic line of thinking, because all the 5 members who are there in the board would be anyway retired bureaucrats, and they expect with the experience of 30 to 40 years, they have imbibed the entire bureaucratic line of thinking in them. So they're also equally expecting the same kind of bureaucratic line of thinking from the candidate also. So this is what I have actually observed personally. And hence, they expect the candidate not merely to remain as to present the answer with a personal interest oriented, but you have to have a national interest orientation, public interest orientation.
Okay.
Right? Then that will actually impress the board members.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other?
Apart from this, I think this is one question which is bothering me, sir. That I need to prepare. I will prepare on these lines, sir. Whatever you
I'll
suggested.
send some material also for you. This
Okay,
issues related to Karnataka and other things.
Yes.
I will WhatsApp you that.
Okay.
Is it the phone number that is there in the DF?
Sir, yes, sir. 8867172150. Yes, same number.
So all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was really helpful, sir. I feel. Thank you.
Yeah.